This podcast is for you. Your co-hosts, Ben Dodge and Eric Huso at Effect Epic Consulting, believe that your potential is limitless. Tapping into this potential is how you can affect epic results in your life, relationships, and business. Welcome to the Principles of Epic Growth.
It's going to be fantastic.
What a great day today, brother.
Dude, I love being with you. I love today. I love what we do. I love all of the people that we get to influence and that we get to learn from. I love their feedback, and today is no exception.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about a really powerful principle, the principle of intention. And our intention is to serve each one of you, our listeners, that through our experience together today, that you can create some epic results in both your professional and your personal relationships.
That's right. This is a game changer. This is a game changer that's worth repeating. It's totally a game changer. Those of you that know and understand the power of intention know what we're talking about. And those of you that don't quite understand it yet, just wait. I mean, the difference between those of us that operate with intention and those of us that don't is huge.
Huge. For those of you that are musically inclined, one of the great examples of the power of intention is to watch a professional conductor versus an amateur conductor. So an amateur conductor, they're up there just flopping their arm. They're not necessarily following the accompanist. They're not really leading who is singing or playing an instrument. They're just up there. They really don't know why they're up there. They're just up there because maybe somebody asked them to be up there or it's their job. Like, they're just really unclear why they're up there. They're flopping their arm, and they're having no impact on the result.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about seeing an amateur conductor, and I'm not musically inclined, so take this with a grain of salt, is they know the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have the skill set.
Yep, they know what the time signature is. They know all the.
I don't even know what a time signature is. But yeah, they seem to know what notes are, at least, right? I mean, they can wave their arms and their baton around in the time signature thing here, right? But I mean, obviously they know what they're doing, but yet they lack the power.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they have no intention
That's
of why they're there. Now, you watch a professional conductor, and it's an absolute marvelous experience.
Little shout out to Brandon Stewart.
Brandon Stewart, man, this guy is one of the most incredible musicians on the planet.
I swear this guy's a genius.
If you watch him, every single movement of his body is intentional, and every movement of his fingers evokes a response from his choir or his orchestra. Every minute movement evokes a response. He's really intentional on what he wants to create. He's really intentional on the sound, on the result. And because of that, there's no wasted movement.
And creation is exactly what's happening there.
Yeah.
Because of his intention, it's everything from the breadth of the volume that he's trying to pull out of the either the choir or the orchestra. It's the timing is a little different than maybe what he wants on the page, and he wants something different. And so, I mean, if you're not paying attention, he'll flip and kick you off the stage, I think. I mean,
oh, yes, he will.
I mean, this guy, honestly, that's a name to look out for. You just remember the name Brandon Stewart. That guy's going places in this world with music. He's just a phenom. It's amazing to watch him.
And that's that's what we're trying to identify here is how can we be like that in our own lives? How can we be so intentional that everything that we do creates an epic result, that evokes a response in the world, that creates? And so one of my favorite quotes is by Van Gogh, that the moment of commitment, the entire universe conspires to assist you. So when you make a clear intention, literally the world will get behind you and will push you, and things will come to you like a magnet, and you'll have this power to create this intentional result that you've created.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced driving down the freeway, and after a few minutes, you're realizing that you can't remember a single second of the last few minutes?
Yeah.
And it's not because you were sleeping. It's not because you were even on your phone. You were literally driving without intention. You were going through the motions. You have the skill set of driving, yet without the intention, you had no idea really what was happening. You didn't create anything in that moment that was worth worth a single cent. There's nothing of note there.
Yeah.
And that's really, that's a cheeseball example, but
it's an important example though, because we have to understand our brain psychology. Like, our brain is designed to go on autopilot. Our brain doesn't want to waste energy. And so if it can go on autopilot and not have to think and consume energy, it's going to do it. And so you have to be awake to the fact that your natural inclination is to go on this autopilot and not be intentional.
Being awake is the key.
Yep.
Let's use that language. Wake up. Like literally wake up. Stop what you're doing and even pause this podcast and go, what's my intention? Why am I listening to this? What do I want out of this? What am I trying to incorporate into my life or create here? Or at work, or with your family or your relationships, with your hobbies, whatever it is. Stop for a minute and think, am I just going through the motions here? Am I just showing up? Is this a normal workout I'm just going to show up to? Is this just a normal family dinner gathering I'm going to show up to? Is this just a regular day at the job? Whatever it is. And those entrepreneurs out there, we've got a ton of clients that are entrepreneurs. Like, is the business managing you, or are you like creating something in this world and the business is your tool? Like, so many of the entrepreneurs that I meet are being handled by their business. Yeah. They're slaves. They're slaves to it. They just feel like they have to react all the time.
Yep.
Intention.
Yeah. So Ben just made an invitation to you that you want to pause this and ask yourself this question, because you want to practice this. What's my intention for listening to this podcast? Is it to be entertained by a couple brother-in-laws that love what they do, or do you really have an intention to make a difference?
I would say the entertainment is a bare minimum.
A little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Absolutely. Look, our intention is to help you become something that is better than what you are right now. And we know that you're incredible, and we know that your potential is limitless. But these tools, this is leveling up here. This is refusing to be average. This is going above and beyond. This is making your mark in the world. This is, as Eric just said earlier, this is the universe like coming behind you and assisting you, as opposed to you just being some peon in the universe. Yeah. Why not have the power of everything just behind you?
Yeah. I'll share with you another analogy. This comes from Steve Chandler. Steve Chandler's one of my favorite authors. He's a great coach, powerful influencer in the world, in the coaching world. But the analogy that he shares is that each one of us are like the sun. And so when Ben talks about your unlimited potential, think about the unlimited potential of the sun. Its ability to create light and heat and energy. We owe our existence as living beings on this earth to the sun. And yet sometimes, the sun can just be a nice thing. It gives a little bit of light and gives a little warmth, but doesn't really make a focused, deep impact. As if when you take out a magnifying glass and you focus the rays of light, then you create fire. Now, so when you have this intention to create fire, you take that magnifying glass and then it focuses it, and you get your result. So that's kind of the power of intention. You within yourself have unlimited potential, and without a clear intention, you'll just go around, you'll warm up the world, and it'll be nice and sunny, but you won't create a fire. You won't create that epic result. You pull out your intention, that magnifying glass, and boom.
I love that because the sun is not something that is in our control, and life, it rarely feels like it's in our control. Yet the way you view it and acting with intention, then you do feel like you're in control, because now you can harness whatever's happening to you to your advantage. Literally, no matter how good or bad it is, harness that sucker and use it to your advantage. So, like the sun, if you're acting without intention, you're going to get sunburned. Straight up sunburned. You're just walking around there like an invitation to get fried like a lobster. If you're intentional about whatever it is you're doing, and when life throws a sun at you, then now you're burning crickets, baby. You got that you got that magnifying glass, and you're burning ants, you're burning crickets, because that's what you're doing something.
Ben's opening up a window to his childhood.
Yeah, it's and I promise it's not disturbing. It was incredible.
He ate them. Don't worry, he ate the crickets.
I might have, but yeah, that's the difference. Is I love intention allows you to harness what's going on around you to your advantage. And I mean, look, some of you that follow us pretty regularly know that about a month ago I got in a bike wreck and I shattered my clavicle. This is like 5 or 6 pieces. It still hurts, just FYI. But that's not something that was really in my control. I couldn't control the fact that my clavicle got broke in this wreck. But I could control what I wanted to do with that opportunity. So even though I have all these races scheduled and all this stuff going on, my intention was to not let that set it back. So there's only so much fitness that I could keep up, for example, because I was damaged. But I still rode almost every day. I tied myself up to my ceiling with a rope and propped myself up on a bike so I could ride. And then I also focused extremely focused. I mean, I got my magnifying glass out and started burning crickets in the sense that I focused on weight loss. I'm like, I'm going to use this opportunity to lose a little bit more weight. So that way, whatever fitness I lose can maybe be offset a little bit just because I'm lighter. But the point is bad things can happen to us, and you can still take that into your advantage just by having an intention. If I didn't have an intention with that, I would have
gained 10 pounds.
I would have gained 10 pounds because I would have stopped riding, right?
Yep.
Or I wouldn't ride as much because you can only do so much with a rope around your chest. And so, it just bad things happen, good things happen. What if you can harness the good things too because of intention? I mean, I remember once upon a time as a young lawyer during a bankruptcy boom when I was doing bankruptcies back in the day. We were doing bankruptcies left and right. I mean, it was making money hand over fist, helping people through these problems. And it was a good thing. And yet I wasted it. I didn't have the presence of mind. I wasn't awake to what the possibility was there. And that money came in and that money went out. I'll never make that mistake again. So good or bad, harness that. Harness it to your advantage. That's the power of intention.
Yeah. Awesome. Ben, one of the questions that people ask frequently about intention is, well, what's the difference between intention and desire? Let's make a distinction there.
I love it.
Because, a lot of people have that question and it can get clouded.
I love it. I love it. Desire is what you want to do. And on that note, just a side thought here is what you say you want to do isn't necessarily what you want to do. But desire is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Intention is what you intend to do.
So there's some action involved there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Desire is this nebulous cloud of thoughts and wishes and dreams or temptations and whatever.
But a critical part of finding out what your clear intentions are
is to understand what your desires
Yeah.
are. Yeah. Desire will give birth to your intentions. You can harness your desires by having a clear intention. Now, remember, intention is going to take action. It's absolutely. You're either a bump on the log or you're out there doing something.
Yep.
Intention is the difference between those people that achieve things and those that don't.
Yep.
Again, there's no accidental success. I say that all the time. There's no accidental success. I challenge you. Give me an example of accidental success. I'll show you how it's not true. There's no way that there's accidental success. So it's intention, the power of intention that set that apart because there's a verb there. It requires action.
You intend to act.
Yeah, and it really all comes from your commitments. Absolutely invite you to go back to some of our earlier podcasts and review the commitment podcast. Commitment is going to really illuminate what your desires are or what you feel you want to create a desire in, whether that's weight loss or growing your company to go public or, whatever it is. What are you committed to? And that'll illuminate what your desires are. And as long as they're in alignment with what you feel your purpose is, and again, alignment's another podcast you ought to go back and listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Then with alignment and commitment, you can harness the power of your desires into a clear intention. And it's a clear intention. Know what your clear intention is. And if you don't, just stop. Think about it for a second. Wrap your mind around it and then proceed. You'll proceed a lot more powerfully.
Awesome. Yeah. So our intention has to be rooted in our commitments.
Right.
If we're trying to create clear intentions and we haven't first gotten clear on what we're committed to, then, we're going to actually be creating forest fires and burning things down unintentionally.
Yeah.
When you're messing with fire, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then that intention that is rooted in commitment, now you're doing controlled burns. Now you're creating your world. You're creating this environment that you can really be proud of and be excited to live into.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I want you to imagine something. Imagine if you are a business owner and every one of your employees every day came to work with this question in mind. What's my intention today? what do I want to create today? Like, think about the growth in your business, the growth in your organization if every employee came. I've been involved with education most of my career. Imagine a school where every teacher came to work and said, what's my intention today? Is my intention going to create what I'm committed to and the result that I'm committed to? Like, imagine a school like that.
I can't imagine a school like that. My kid goes to one of those schools, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And FYI, they did not walk out on Red for Ed, just saying.
So I created, I had the privilege of creating a school with that mindset where I had a clear intention from the very beginning. It started with my clear intention that I was going to create the greatest educational institution in the country, where teachers were 100% committed to the experience that their students would have in the classroom. And part of my role as a leader is to keep them awake to that, to keep them awake to what's your intention today? Is your intention rooted in your commitments?
I love it.
And every day, will your intention reach our goal of having our students have that incredible educational experience?
And the proof is in the pudding. There's a wait list at that school.
Yeah.
Like, in 1 year of opening, there's a wait list. It's people were coming from everywhere to get into that thing. I mean, it started off not full, but by the end of the first year, there's a wait list for the second year. Just because, it's creepy, really, to walk on that campus and see teachers excited to be there. High school kids pumped to go to school. Are you kidding me? I was pumped to ditch every day of my life when I was in high school. These kids are happy to be there. I mean, it's phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect institution, right? But I would agree with Eric that this particular school that he helped create, I mean, it's awesome to see the results of the power of intention and of you infecting positively everybody around you with what intention is. And you created an incredible team. But yeah, the difference, of course, is an environment where people are pumped to be there. And in an educational environment, on a high school level, I don't know. That's not very common.
Yeah, and I owe it to my teachers. Number one, being committed, and number two, being awake to the intention that they have to serve their students and to meet that. So imagine that business where every one of your employees wakes up every day and says, what is my intention today? What do I want to create? Imagine a family where both the mom, the dad, whatever your family situation is, the children, grandparent, whatever the family situation is, if each family member said, what's my intention today? What's my intention in my home life? What difference would that make? So if my intention is that I want my children to feel loved by me, then now that just opens a whole possibility of actions that I can do that will help them to feel loved by me. Versus if I'm asleep, then, back in the day, I'd have a newspaper in front of my face, and today I have my cell phone in front of my face, and I come home and I'd just be a distracted dad, and my children wouldn't necessarily feel loved by me.
Were you old enough to read newspapers?
Dude. Every day of my life, a bowl of cold cereal on the sports page, man.
I love it. Yeah, intention, guys, is really incredible. Think about, I think in one of our previous podcasts, analogy I love to use is the difference between a firefighter and an arsonist. Intention is the difference there, right? Firefighters typically just have to react, right, to everything that's going on there, constantly responding. So if you had a busy day at work and you come home and you're just responding to still emails probably from work, and now whatever family problems you have, however many kids you got, one's got this dance recital or this music this or this sports that, or wife's had a rough day because kid screwed up doing something, and you're just constantly responding to all that as soon as you get home. The difference in that scenario is if you walked into the door with an intention and you identified your intention, for example, today, in this moment, when I walk through this door, I want my wife to feel like she's the most incredible person on the planet. And I want my kids to know that no matter what's going on in their life, that I love them. Now when you're responding to these things, you're in control. You're acting with a purpose, right? And that's the difference between an arsonist who, with some thought and some intention, I know they're criminals. I'm not saying everybody should go light things on fire, but think about how they plan and how precise they are. Yeah. And with one tiny match, the kind of things they can set ablaze.
Yeah.
And that's what you should do in your relationships and in work. And you mentioned, imagine a company where your employees come to work like that. If they're not showing up like that, for all of our entrepreneur clients out there, if they're not showing up like that, stop, pause for a moment, and ask yourself, is it your fault? Like, look, are you living with intention? Do you demonstrate what it is to live with intention, to be clear on your intentions, to be committed? If you're not demonstrating that, then they might not have any idea what they're supposed to do, right? Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. From personal experience, the answer to that is yes. When I, as the leader, am foggy, I haven't done the work to be clear on my intentions, I mean, it's a domino effect on everybody else that, they just go through the motions too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if that's the problem, then fix it. Before you start whacking people, fix it. If that isn't the problem, then there's 7 billion people on this planet? Start firing people. Who cares, man? You build your team, you bring people in that can support that and that live that way, or at least are open to living that way, and then you can demonstrate and teach and lead them to live that way.
Yeah. So we've given you some homework to practice this. The nice thing about intention, the thing that I love about intention, is it's really easy to practice, and there's opportunities every day. Every day that you wake up, you have the opportunity to be the author of your day, to create a clear intention. Every day that you're driving to work, you have the opportunity to be really intentional. What is my intention today in the office? Every day you leave the office and you're driving home, you have the opportunity to be really intentional. When I walk through that door, what is my intention? How do I want my family to experience me? Every day that you go to the grocery store, you have the opportunity to be intentional. What's my intention here at the store? Like, you're going to interact with a couple human beings. There's going to be some people in line. You're going to have a cashier. Like, what's your intention? See, most of us are asleep. Most of us are asleep to the fact that there's actually another human being on the other side of the...
Yeah, that might be having a horrible day and a simple expression of gratitude. Yeah. Or you might be asleep to the fact that you actually once upon a time said you want to be healthy, and now all of a sudden you find yourself on the ice cream aisle. Like, wake up, man. Yeah. Put those ice cream sandwiches down.
And pick up the Haagen-Dazs.
No, seriously. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a great opportunity to practice. What is my intention? What's your intention for listening to this podcast? What do you want out of it? By you clearly writing down what your intention is for listening to this podcast, I want to make you a promise. You'll get that out of it.
Yeah, one of my mentors and favorite authors is Grant Cardone. I mean, obviously he's super famous. Most people probably know him. He's real over the top, sometimes really hard to listen to because he's so just passionate about what he does. Fact of the matter is one of the things I respect about him most is on a daily basis, he takes a yellow legal pad out, which resonates for me. I have a legal background, right? So he takes this yellow legal pad out, and he writes down what his goals are that day. In a sense, he's writing down what his intentions are, what he wants to try and do, and he wants to every day he does that. And then about once a month, he writes more of a global kind of purpose of life kind of thing that he's trying to do. And he thinks big. He doesn't think small. He thinks big. And so he just and sometimes it takes him 5-10 years, and he's writing the same thing down every morning till he gets it.
But the power of that is he's intentional every day.
Exactly. I have a good analogy about intention. We've all been in a huge mall or, airport or shopping center or something like that where there's a giant escalator. In my opinion, life is happening to us like the escalator going down, and we're trying to go up. There's just always something that we have to work towards or overcome or something, right, thrown in our face. So imagine you're going up the down escalator, because that's what life is. If you don't have any intention whatsoever, you're standing still. You're just backsliding. Like you're just letting the world do to you whatever the heck it wants. And that's a never-ending escalator. And you can be happy there, I guess. I don't know anybody that would honestly say, yeah, I'm just happy with not getting what I want. I love this, being content with everything I already got that even though I got all these dreams, I'm good. I'm just going to stay here. It's comfortable. It's easy. I don't have to work. I don't have to push hard. If you kind of start doing something and you're just inefficient at it because you're not clear with what your intentions are, you don't really know what you're committed to, or you're weak in your commitments, then you're taking some steps, but you're just staying right where you're at. How many of us know people? I'd say 90% of the people who live on this planet are on that escalator, staying right where they're at or backsliding. And they just live their whole life till they die with, kind of working out a meager living and just kind of doing some of the things they want to do. They don't take the vacations they want. They don't take the jobs they want. They don't create that opportunity for themselves. Then there's the 1 or 2% of people, man, they are running up that escalator. It doesn't matter how fast that escalator is going. They know what they're doing, and what they don't want is going back or staying still. Their intentions are so clear. Their purpose of life that they're aligned with is so clear to them, and their commitments are so unwavering. They're flat running up that thing, and they just run right by you. Just watch them. I mean, we know them. I mean, these are the Steve Jobs of the world, and the leaders of Google, and these Facebook, all these guys. They're running up that escalator. I mean, they didn't accidentally do this. I mean, they know what they want, and they're just operating that way. Why don't you run up that escalator, whether it's work, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your hobbies, like for me it's cycling, whatever it is, run up that thing. But you can't. You cannot do that unless you know what your intention is and unless you're committed to doing it.
Yep. Awesome. Ben, I've loved talking about this intention stuff today. And I know that from personal experience, when I've gotten clear on my intention, it has made such a powerful difference in my own personal relationships, made such a powerful difference in what I create at work, the results. And so really excited as you guys become more intentional. Share with us your experience of it.
Yeah.
Share with us your wins. Share with us your challenges of it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, well, till next time.
I love it. Thanks, guys. Just one reminder on some of that homework. Take the time to just figure out what your intentions are. And for a rudimentary exercise, take a page out of Grant Cardone's book and maybe start writing them down every morning. I mean, it takes 2-3 minutes. Just write it down. See how that changes your day, and see how you feel like you're all of a sudden the arsonist, not the firefighter. You're operating through life, creating what you want. You'll start feeling like you're climbing up that escalator, and that no matter how fast the world makes that thing go backwards on you, you're just running faster up that thing. Feel it. Let us know how it goes. Awesome. Till next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Principles of Epic Growth podcast, your path to epic performance and life with incredible growth.